Welcome to Season 3, Episode 4 of iZombie, where Liv eats the brain of a gossip and cannot keep her big mouth shut. It's amazing. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
The Broadway legend herself, Linda Eder, taking on a classic, I'm not sure what vocal range this is, but it's usually for a guy. Guys, just wait for her. It's just wonderful.
Good old man of a mancha.
It's lovely. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us here tonight. We are here covering iZombie, another great episode, good mystery. We're building it up. I'm Joelle Monique. You can find me all over the internet at Joelle Monique and every week at blackgirlnerds.com.
Yeah, I'm Dave Child. You can find me at mrdavechild and davechild.com. I'm happy to be here. Sorry it's only the two of us, but they're coming back next week.
Yes, absolutely. The ladies will be here for you, so fear not. They're coming back.
They're coming back.
They're just on assignment elsewhere.
Yeah.
But they love you.
So we're taking over the Wag the Tongue Slowly.
Yes. Very
episode.
super sexual title for a not very sexual episode.
Well, I guess the Wag the Tongue is about gossiping.
Okay.
And talking, but I'm not. It's also in reference to something I'm not picking up. I
Yes.
know it's like something because it's Wag the dog, but I don't think that's what they're referencing. I think it's something else. So if you guys know, let us know.
Yes.
Because we're looking at the chat right now on our screen. So let us know.
Share it with us. We want to hear from you guys. But we are not going to wait any longer. We're just going to jump in. We're ready for it.
Dive in.
Let's start with you want to start with the main case? Or
Yeah, we can do the main case.
All
I
right.
do want to. Well, yeah. Let's do the main case. So it starts off where we get. I love it when in the show there's always in the opening we meet a character who has a distinctive character personality.
Yes.
And that's a great way of knowing, like, oh, that's what Liv's going to be doing for the rest of the episode.
You're gonna die soon.
Yeah, you're the one dying. If you're distinctive, you're gonna die.
And what a great opening character. I really like Cheryl. She's all over the place, in everyone's business. As a former high school gossip, she brought back some fun and also terrifying memories. Gossip is dangerous, as we learn in this episode.
Gossip can be a problem. Don't wag that tongue.
Put it back in your mouth.
Put it back in the.
Did you not like the cadaver with the tongue? The cadaver, rather. She had her tongue all
Yeah, she
out.
did have the tongue out.
I was wondering if it was a prosthetic or if it was her actual tongue, and that actress was just really great at keeping it out and not moving at the same time.
I hope it was the prosthetic.
Me too.
Because that would mean she would have to have like tongue makeup when she was sitting there. But I also want to talk about. I think my favorite character of this episode is Jan.
Yes, the screaming lady.
Even though we see her just briefly once, she's kind of like, I hope that she somehow comes back in future episodes, like how we have the barf cop and the screaming cop and Angie Tribeca. I want this to like Jan constantly be discovering bodies. Because the way that she screams and then is immediately like, Jan, calm down. It's so, she has the perfect scream face.
I had a very Brady moment where I was like, really, Jan? And it was kind of a perfect scream queen moment as well. Like the eyes bulging, the face. It was memorable for someone who's only on screen for maybe 15 seconds.
Yeah, I wonder what the casting process of that is. Just like, we just need your best scream, going through all the screaming extras, see who has the best. Or maybe they discovered someone who screamed one day on the street just for a random, trying to hail a taxi. Jan was just like, yeah. And Rob Thomas was like, oh, I need you for my show.
I like to think the casting director was reading the script, and when she got to Screaming Jan, she was like, oh, finally, I can cast this girl.
Please.
I know exactly where to put her. It's going to be excellent.
We're taking this taxi straight to Hollywood. Or more accurately, Toronto, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we see her gossiping. A fire alarm gets pulled. She's eating her yogurt.
Yeah.
Everybody evacuates the building, and then Jan discovers her on the toilet with blue feet.
I also think it's the first suspicious person is Jim, who says, like, come with me, everyone who wants to live. I'm like, that's suspicious.
Sir, come with me if you want to live. It's not time for movie quotes.
Yeah.
Also, it's just a fire alarm. We've had fire drills since we were 2. We're all going to be fine.
I also thought maybe they were pulling like a red herring. Like we think it's going to be Cheryl because she's so gossipy and we think that's who the trait's going to be. But then I thought maybe it's going to be Jim and he's just going to be like, everyone, come with me. I'm going to solve everything. Or maybe that was something Major's going to take over. But that didn't end up happening.
No. What does end up happening is Liv and Bo, as we like to call him here, decide to do some detective work, and they discover Cheryl has a giant file. Felicia, the HR manager, brings the file, and almost everyone has had a complaint with Cheryl, some kind of disagreement, some kind of horrible thing. We learned that she outed one of her fellow employees, which is awful. Don't out people. That's mean. She hounded another guy for stealing food. She almost got another girl fired, but she just wound up not getting her promotion. So, you know, have you had to deal with any kind of coworkers like this before?
Who are just gossipy?
Or who are just kind of after everyone?
Yeah. I mean, I think that just tends to be the office politics that kind of end up happening.
There's always one. Chat, if you have, I would love to hear your guys' story of just awful. Babs, I'm sorry, you're right, Ivan Soto. I'm still learning the nicknames.
Also, Billie Jean Girl 24 wrote that I would have taken the yogurt with me. Why did she leave it? I think that's true.
That's a super fair question.
But also, I think if we've learned one lesson from this episode is always bring your yogurt with you.
Yes.
No matter
Recap
what.
your drinks. Watch your stuff.
Watch your drinks. Watch your yogurts. Not even
important.
work is safe, especially if you like to gossip a lot. And also, like, how did she? Of course, she was gonna cause so much. Have so many enemies. She's like, what friends does she have anymore?
Yeah, it's not really a good idea to alienate yourself that much at work to the point where there's literally no one in your corner. Also, question, when you get to a giant file, why doesn't HR fire you? Oh, because she was a good salesman. They covered that. Never mind.
Yeah, she was a good salesman. Also, I think sometimes you do like to have that one gossipy person because that's the one person you can gossip with. So it's who they go to. So.
Yes. I like that. So Liv eats her brain, obviously, so she's having gossipy moments.
Really tame preparation of the food this year. Oh, this episode.
Hilarious too, when she's trying to scoop all the brains into it, and that
one little
piece,
like thing that isn't.
Just get out of there.
I think we've all had that trouble with our brains.
Of course.
It's just the one little bit you don't want to touch it because you just don't want it.
You don't want to squeeze any of the goodness out.
No, you want all the brain, but it's just like a can of soup this time.
Southwest chicken soup, man.
Southwest
Liz
chicken
can't
soup.
be cooking like crazy meals every day. Sometimes you just need a bowl of soup.
Just need a soup.
That's all you need. But what's great is on these brains, Babs brings Liv a book of the phone records.
Right.
And she's like, I'm going to juice you for all you're worth. I love watching her get excited to uncover some dirt. Because usually Liv's so you know, mild-mannered when she's just Liv, when she's not on brain. To see her really looking forward to just taking someone down a peg, that was kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that she always has that one little thing that kind of, it's like an addiction every week. It's whatever the personality trait is becomes an addiction, and she gets to feed it with like whatever she can, and if it's looking through all these like information, that's enough to feed that addiction.
It's beautiful. Liv discovers the exclamation point, which one part of the duo said was, "Oh, that's the thing we do when we see something funny." Ma'am, could you come up with a better lie? Like, they just said they had all of your records. Like, literally anything else other than like it's a habitual pattern that you won't be able to confirm. The other guy said butt dial. So you have to hit 2 buttons to send an exclamation point. Usually you get a bunch of words. Both of you are terrible liars.
Yeah, unless it's like saved into your most common things that
That's
you say.
That's also fair. That's fair.
I'll just say, I am seeing someone mention Ivan Soto, good old Ivan Soto.
Hey, Ivan.
On the chat says that the strange that Utopian was brought back and there wasn't really a reaction to it. I noticed that too, but I also think that's just this series go-to drug.
Right, and we established last season that Utopia is like a club drug too.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be hard, especially, you know, for a porn star, like, to just get her hands on it. You can pick it up at any club, probably.
Yeah, it's their kind of, it has like ecstasy
Yeah.
Like, crazy like an ecstasy. So they wanted her to just be weirded out in the actual office to create a gossipy scene.
She would say crazy things. She would fail a drug test, maybe get fired.
Yeah.
It's not, don't slip people drugs, but I get why it happened.
Yeah. Don't slip people drugs.
Because you don't know what else they're on and how it will react. It's not a good look.
Yeah, and just don't in general slip people drugs.
Also, roofing people is awful. That's just terrible.
Yeah, just don't do it.
So Liv has a vision of the porn star lady.
Yes.
Doing a terrible accent.
Yeah, and I think that actually made me realize what Cheryl did in the office, because she was obviously being shown it by someone else. Mm-hmm. So it's clear that she's like, oh, I found out someone we're working with it was in porn. And so you share it with someone. I also love that she did 80 films, but she only worked in porn for 5 months.
That is a legitimate thing. I also like the names of the porns. Hunt Me Deadly, Porn Noir, Dial M for Moist. Someone had way too much fun.
Dial M for Moist is like, I think that's the most fun you can have in like in a writer's room, is to come up whenever there's a storyline. It's like, why don't we make them? There's probably one guy that's like, why don't we make them a porn so we can come up with as many porn titles as we possibly can? And it's Dial M for Moisture too. It's not even moist.
Ew.
It's moisture.
How much? Well, I don't want to think about it.
Moist is already a weird term for a lot of people.
Yes.
But moisture is even better.
That is foul.
Yeah. I do want to go back a little bit to the text that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Because I did have something that bumped up against me in this episode is they all have cell phones given to them by a dental corporation. Mm-hmm. Is that a normal thing with like offices?
In sales? Absolutely. Especially if they're flying around and stuff.
Yeah, you're right. Because they're probably going to pharmaceutical places. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
So I was, as we were watching and kind of going through the case, I for sure thought it was going to be one person. I thought we were going to get an individual, and I was leaning toward Rhonda just because her name was coming up more. She did the Italian accent, and I was like, oh man, maybe Rhonda like was on the phone and had already slipped it in there and was just like abiding her time.
I wanted it to be Jan. Because I wanted Jan
just out
to come
of nowhere.
Back. And then as soon as she gets arrested, she screams again.
I would love it because it would justify her very crazy scream. Maybe like, oh, she was faking it. I love it. I love it. But no, it actually turns out to be Jim, Rhonda, and Mickey all in it together to take Cheryl off. My God, Cheryl, you really made some mistakes in life. Like, you pissed people off bad.
Oh, do not gossip, people. Mm-mm. Or if you got to gossip to one person that you trust. And also don't like, she was more than a gossip because she reported it to HR constantly. She made HR put in video like surveillance over the string cheese incident and just kind of they kept reporting stuff.
Although I like the idea of like, no, I did it once on accident, but she wouldn't leave me alone about it, so I just started stealing it on purpose, just to be petty, because that's some shit I would pull.
That's definitely something I've done before.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely like, oh, I'll just do this once. Oops, my bad. I'll bring string cheese in the next day to drop it, and then, but if it becomes a big deal, then yeah.
Well, like, just yesterday, I actually took a sip out of the wrong cup, and I was like, oh, sorry, person. It's not like...
And then they made a big deal out of it, so then you just licked the whole cup in front of them?
And I just broke all their dishes, because I was like, screw you. You get nothing now.
We're horrible people, is what we're trying to say.
Yeah, Jim says we thought it would be funny to take Cheryl down a peg. Yeah, it's not so funny when people accidentally die, because her antidepressants mixed with the Max Ranger is what actually killed poor Cheryl.
Yeah.
Poor Cheryl? I feel bad. She just was talking a lot.
It's still poor Cheryl.
Yeah, she died. It's pretty awful. Yeah. Okay, back to the top. Let's do Liv and Babs. Okay.
Yep.
So,
looking for the Wally.
Yes.
Because they're following at the same time that all this is happening. I do want to say I do like the reveal, the twist that everyone did it, because I think that's unique. And I'm glad there wasn't just it was the first guy you talked to. It didn't have that feel. It was a nice little procedural, a different thing that we usually see.
Absolutely. So, yeah. We get this great moment at the top, right as Liv is about to eat right after she's eaten the brains, and she's getting this like tingling sensation to gossip and start talking. And
they can't quite figure out why yet.
Liv, you look like the zombie who ate the canary's brain.
Yeah.
Is wonderful.
And even before that, Ravi says that, expects her to go all Willy Loman, like be kind of salesman-y, or maybe Glengarry Gun Ross. They don't expect the gossipiness to kick in.
Yeah, I like that in this one there was no they had no like heads up about what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
And that's discovered in the meeting with the HR lady, Felicia, where she's really the gossip. They're like, oh, I get it now. But as you say, they're working the Tuttle Reed murders, and they've downloaded all the files from Truthsayers, which is the website for the anti-zombie people. And they're making their way slowly through all of the files. My gosh, as you guys I'm sure know, if you've read the internet, specifically extremist portions of the internet, that stuff can be terrifying and draining. And to do that day and night, like, I'm kind of glad Liv has gossip brain, so that it is at least somewhat interesting.
I mean, we love your comments that you leave on this show, but I do have to say, internet comments as a whole, that's a dangerous path to read. To go down and read as many as you can, especially if they're specifically hate groups geared towards who you are. And that's what Liv is doing, looking at all these like anti-zombie groups.
Yes. Liv is also taking stock of everything in the office. What is, not Babineau, but the guy that was questioning Babineau a couple weeks ago. Oh, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, the other two officers in the group.
Do they have a flirtatious thing? Yeah. They're lowering blinds. I love when Babs becomes intrigued and he's like, oh my God, you are not going to believe what I'm seeing right now.
And that caused like the flashback, so that was a nice.
It was a wonderful touch, and the fact that he got involved in the gossip was adorable.
Yeah.
She also gets kind of nosy about what's going on with Blaine and Peyton. She's like, I'm seeing things, but I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, which is awful for Ravi. I feel like because it ends on the zombie note, maybe we should go back and go to Ravi a little bit. So, because Ravi, I feel like he's having a bad week. After coming off of Supergirl, he's just having like a bad week.
You died Monday and you come here now and...
Spoiler alert.
Sorry.
But yeah, it was a bad day on Supergirl for him. That's all I got to say about that.
And now the dream of Pavi, #Pavi or Rayton, it's over.
Pavi or Rayton. Which I'm glad they're coming up with the shipping names themselves.
Yes, it's beautiful. I also feel a little, it's bad. It's really, really bad that Ravi was had a sexual partner in the next room when Peyton walks in and he still kisses her and doesn't tell her anything. Like, it's bad, but also like dude was grieving in that moment, and I feel bad that he's kind of been cut out now. I also feel weird for saying it because I also feel like, dude, you're a total douchebag. But also, I love Robbie.
So I'd say that. Oh yeah, because Robbie. Well, he was a big dick last week.
It was not a good look for Robbie.
He was not good, and we have a week has passed, and so now we might have forgotten that, and we've seen him on another show as a whole nother character, and maybe an alternate universe. But now when he comes back, it's just you got to remember how terrible he was. Like it even got to the point when Peyton kissed him at the end of the last episode, where we kind of couldn't believe that he got kissed.
There was a lot of questioning of like
a bit of a stretch to have Peyton kind of show up. So. I mean, it makes sense. He's gonna be moping this entire episode.
If you guys follow Raul Coley on Twitter, he tweeted today. He's like, "Yeah, my character makes a lot of bad decisions, but I will continue to defend him regardless of his terrible decisions."
But
which I love.
I like how he does what a lot of people who are brokenhearted do: is dive into alcohol and porn.
Yeah, and video games.
And video games. But the porn aspect of it was great. I thought that was a great way to bring him into the storyline with Liv and Babs, and he gets this fascination with the porn actress who's involved in this case and wants to like sneak in and get a signature, get an autograph the entire time. That was great.
Before he goes into the porn aspect, Major pulls him in to do a quick detail. He's trying to find the woman he's supposed to protect. And my favorite line from this is when Ravi's like, I hate sex slavery as much as anyone, but also,
right,
I don't want to leave the house. Oh,
Isn't that the case with so many of us?
So many things. There's a great show tonight. Yeah, but my house is warm and I'm here already. Please don't make me leave. Right. But he does wind up going, and I like this kind of weird reversal where Ravi is Sherlock to Major's like impassioned Watson. The crabby alcoholic guy who doesn't really want to do anything to Watson's like, we can totally solve this case. Like, just pay attention. We're here. You're smart. We're gonna have dry wit. It's gonna be great.
Well, he also is more like Don Quixote, which is, I think, a very apt kind of description where he's just like, he's trying to be the hero. He's trying to go out. You even see it in their conversation about the video game. When he's like, listen, that has no point. And then he has this exact like, no, you're fighting Sauron here. You do have a point. You do have, it's an honorable fight, even though it's just about a video game. Absolutely. So when they go to try and find Natalie, he has a mission that he's going for and tracking down, what's his name? It's
Mr. Oates.
Osborne. Osborne Oates.
Yeah, there we go.
Which was very, I love that also that he's in the diamond biz. Mm-hmm. And
he's
so Ravi
James
says,
Bond
villain. So he's a James Bond villain. I was like, yeah. Also very Spider-Man with the
totally Osborne.
With the Osborne-ness.
Sure. Also the double O's is very comic booky.
Right.
Oswald Oates, Peter Parker. I love it.
Alliteration.
Yes. So, okay, that's pretty much Ravi's storyline. He's a sad kitten, but he's helping. Kitten. He's still part of the team. We still love him. We just need him to make smarter choices. So,
no Kati. Kati? Is it Kati in this episode? Who he sleeps with in the previous episode? Which is fine
with me. She never needs to come back.
Well, she
will come back as part of that show, I know, but I'm mad at her and I don't want her to be here.
Right. But she'll be coming back. So it was nice to see her. And it was nice to actually have more time with Peyton and Blaine, I think, when they had it. Well, first let's wrap up Major's story.
Well, let's wrap up Major's and go. Yeah, okay. So Major is getting worse. He's he's
coughing a lot. Has to be on that respirator inhaler.
So it's not looking good, but he is not deterred. He knows he could be deployed soon, so he's got to find his girl soon, or he'll lose his window. Mm-hmm. So he recruits Ravi to do the stakeout. But Mr. Oates is not playing around. He has a giant bodyguard who will whip a gun out and scare people.
He will shoot him with this gun, which I thought was such a strange line.
I love this line. Like, not another gun. This one right
specific
here
gun
in my hand
will shoot you. And I like it was clever in the way that it wasn't clever at all. It was just saying exactly what's going to happen.
It's kind of the exact intelligence level you expect a bodyguard to be. Like, if they're smarter, it's just kind of shocking, you know? I think we're kind of conditioned to be like, oh, beefcake bodyguard. Like, he's just there to protect. And I like that he was trying to be eloquent, and it kind of came out super clunky.
Yeah.
And it was fun. Major, it has zero chill, and is like, I don't care that you have this gun. I'm going to track you and slip this tracking device on you. Which, smart, but also dangerous, as we see when he pulls up to the hotel after staking out for, like, what I feel is, like, maybe a full day. It's like he's there for a long time. Like, he leaves, and then she finally comes out, like, maybe in the afternoon. Bust past security, gets in there, and she's like, you should not be here.
Yeah.
This is bad. And now I'm worried, like, what is happening to her? Because zombies don't bruise or anything. She seems very terrified for Major's life.
Well, she's a kept woman in a tower right now. Like, in specifically High Tower, which was the name of the place. And I think that was made to be because he's on this Don Quixote savior trip. And in order to do that, he's saving the kept woman who's being held by the evil supervillain. It was very cliche, but that was kind of the point, that it was cliche. And Major is the type of character that's gonna love being the savior and the hero.
Major Lily White is our hero. He's always doing the selfless thing,
which is why you should never.
Blaine.
Don't give him a drug to cure himself.
I really feel like he should not be. Like, you guys have to inject it into him.
You
like,
have
we
to
can't be doing
just
any of this
when he's
anymore.
sleeping. If you have to do it, because it's just he is so going to give it up.
He is, and he does. He says, "Here, Natalie, you take the drugs. I don't need them. Your memory will be gone, but you'll be human. I was like, I'm not sure. But of course, she takes it anyway.
Right.
There are only 16 left. Hopefully, he doesn't find another, 16 people that need it more than him.
Yeah, I hope he keeps it around. Do you still feel like he's doomed? Well, also, we should say with Natalie, I'm curious to see if Natalie comes back or not.
Yes, I hope so. In one shape or another, even if it's her memory's gone, but she's moved on to a different kind of life.
It would actually be interesting if she moves to the middle of the country, erases her memory, but then mementos her way back because she's trying to figure out who she is and where she comes from.
That would be really cool.
So that might be a nice little twist, because I imagine she's a character that may want to wipe her memory. That doesn't seem like it's a necessarily bad thing.
Yeah, she's suffered a lot of trauma. She was going to kill herself. It might be good for her to just start on a fresh page. I wanted to ask you, do you think Major has a death wish? Because he's been doing some crazy-ass stunts.
Well, he has a savior-martyr complex, crazy. He just loves giving up an excuse to save himself. In order to save someone else, he just wants to. Yes,
he's
I think
Lily White.
Yeah, he's the Lily White Knight that I think Ivan Soto said in the thing. It's hard to read the chat, everyone, when it's only two of us. So I do have to apologize that we're not talking about the chat as much. But Renji90998 says hashtag Lily Knight,
totally,
which I also like. But yeah, it was that's kind of what his bag is. So, speaking of memory loss and the cure, we go to Blaine.
Oh, wait, no, we got to finish up one more thing with Major. At the final scene we see him after he gives away the thing is that he's been deployed.
Yes.
So he is now out with the guys, going to a different country. I'm sorry, guys, I didn't catch which country he's going to. But it's no longer playtime. They have to put on their Kevlar helmets. It's go time. It's serious. I'll be interested to see if what the company has laid out to Liv and Babs, if the good they intend to do, if that's what they're really out there doing, or if they've got them doing some really shady stuff. Are they going to kill an entire village of people? Are human lives expendable at the cost of zombie? What lines are they drawing, and what war are they really fighting? I'm really excited to see what happens.
I don't think he's doomed quite yet, because I think
that's way too early.
Yeah, I think it's way too early. If he is, which hopefully he isn't, I think it'll come much farther down the line. And I think it'll actually be because he's looking for a way to die and dive in front of a bullet. I think it's going to be more powerful every time he doesn't do that. So I hope he stays around for quite a while.
I like Lily. I would not want him to be gone.
Yeah.
So now we can jump into Peyton and Blaine.
Yes.
Which was really exciting. I love this storyline.
Pain. Oh, pain.
Pain. I feel like pain should be it because I don't see this ending well.
Pain. Yeah, it's just got to end with pain. I did see earlier a lot of people on the chat kept saying how is it bad that I love memory wiped Blaine so much. And I have to say, I think that's exactly what you're supposed to be feeling.
Yeah, hell yeah. I love memory wiped Blaine. He's caring. He just sings at a bar. He's really good to Peyton. There's really nothing not to like about memory wiped Blaine, except for what the ladies mentioned last week. Well, not even his past, because I feel like if you have no recollection and no desire to go back to any of that, then essentially we can it wasn't you. It was literally a different person at this point. What concerns me more, though, is I don't know if I trust that his memory didn't come back.
No, you can't trust him.
There was something in the way that, and I know we're skipping a little bit ahead, but there's something in the way he woke up on the couch where he was like, is there a beautiful angel? It just felt overly sweet.
I felt like it felt pretty sincere right now, and I'm actually glad we didn't get a hint that he might be lying yet. I think we're going to get it soon. I think we might get it next episode. But I'm glad that it didn't go with he's like, oh no, I'm fine. I don't remember anything. And then he gets on the phone and says, hi, Dad. Here are the codes that I remember. Or some weird device that they do. Because I think that's going to happen. And it might not. But I do like how they're kind of living in this, him struggling over the idea of him getting his memory back. I love when he talks to her about what if I tortured animals?
That was such a great scene, and the conflict for both of them, of her being like, I would like to cure my friends. She doesn't have to eat brains anymore. I want Major, whom I love and is a friend to be able to keep his memories and come back and be stronger than before.
Yeah.
But also, I really like this guy, and I'm very, very torn.
He's our Spike.
He is our Spike. And
it's nice to have him.
Been so good and so sweet. And now I worry for poor Peyton. Like, her heart's been through so much with Ravi and then not Ravi, and then Blaine, but Blaine is bad, but now Blaine is good. Like, it's just all very confusing. But I do like that in the morning she was like, screw coffee.
Yeah.
I want you. I have zero time for this food business.
Because we got to spend more time with Payne and Blayton. Payne's just confusing mentioning that, but with Blayton, it made me like them a lot more. It made me like that kind of relationship a bit more, but which is going to make it more tragic when it falls apart, because there's no way it's going to stay.
Yeah.
There's no ships that remain. Like, everyone likes to think of ships, but ships, they sink.
They do. Boom. Take that.
Hashtag, ships, they sink.
Speaking of boom, Wham Bams.
Wham Bams
is a gun club.
Right.
Run by a white supremacist.
Yeah, he seems to be everything, huh?
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, because I know, the Sovereign Citizens Movement, according to the Southern Poverty Law Center, is a group of people who believe they have a right to decide between which laws they want to obey and which ones they don't, which is literally not a thing. I hate to bust your bubble, but they're like, yeah, no, and also they don't think they should have to pay taxes.
Cool. Yeah.
Who wants to contribute to the society they live in? That's boring.
Right.
So yeah, he has a lot of hate in his heart. His brother is the guy whose arm they stole to break into Max Ranger in the first place.
That was kind of a deep cut. I'm also glad they explained it right away, because as soon as they showed that picture, I'm like, I think we're supposed to know who that is. I have no idea who that is.
I remember his face and the cut off like T look. I was like, okay, so it's kind of in there. So now
he has a distinctive tat on his arm, and I think that's what we're supposed to recognize.
So now Mr. Johns says, so basically they get the information they need from him. He says something really interesting at the end of the scene, which is, you can't murder what ain't alive. And that really struck a chord with me, because legally speaking, the evolution of the show, the way they've been going so far, it's like, okay, we're zombies. How do we deal with that? Right. Okay, we are zombies, but we don't want to be. Can we correct it? Kind of, maybe. We're still experimenting with it. And then this season seems to be, okay, now how do we come out of the closet, essentially? How do we integrate with people? How do we come into the light? The step after that is, how do we integrate into our legal system, right?
Yeah, do you think, does it make it, should we get into predictions now?
Yeah, let's throw in predictions.
Put on the prediction.
Show me the lights.
Ooh, it's a... Wow,
that was the weakest prediction. I got 0 lights.
Oh, yeah.
Now, your AFTERBUZZ TV.
Oh, God.
Okay, so, all right, enough.
Extra
enough.
At the end.
That was too long.
This is a lot.
Find the middle ground. You were finding... Okay, all right, now we're rose-colored for some reason. Great. Neil, son of a... Neil's in the booth, and he's just not... Oh, boy.
God, he's not taking the bull tonight.
Okay, so... predictions. You son of a... I think you have a point where next season, they might be just out of the closet. It might become like this is a world that has zombies in it, and it might be fighting for the rights of the zombies. And will they be recognized as people, or will they be recognized as things that aren't even alive, so you can kill them freely?
Because legally, you're dead once your heart stops beating.
Brain stops working, I think.
Okay, all right.
I think brain death is legally dead.
Okay, all right.
I believe, I could be wrong on that.
I feel like we're going to hear lawyers and or live with a person debating,
we do have
brain dead, heart dead.
We do have Helena needs a hug saying probes to Neil. So then she says props, but I'm going to say probes to Neil.
Yes, the alien in the booth.
That, Neil.
It'll be interesting to see how they decide to swerve that, because I mean, zombies are out here living full lives, raising children, trying to find ways to sustainably keep themselves alive without harming any individuals by going through morgues who are honestly just going to burn the insides of you anyway. So you might as well go to feed a person, I guess, if that's a thing that they can survive on.
And they also have the cure floating around too, but the cure wipes your memory.
So that's
that's another
not great way to do it. Yeah. But now that kind of makes me think we'll get into like X-Men territory of like the government mandating like, look, you cannot be a zombie. We're going to kill you. Or you can take this cure. And I don't know, hopefully you've done some video recordings of yourself to teach yourself who you were. Because I don't think people are going to stand for the zombies. I think the zombies are right. If they can get to their island.
You're not going to want to stay a zombie unless you're kind of pretty evil.
Or, you know, maybe you're like, man, I look really good with like white hair and pale skin.
Oh, well, what might come back in the Dungeons and Dragons episode that's coming up?
Yes.
With Vampire Bill? Is it Vampire Bill?
Oh yeah.
We might find a bunch of goths that want to be zombies.
Ooh.
That kind of a group, a lot like a storyline that's in Preacher as well.
Yeah. I like that idea. That would be really cool. So jumping ahead a little bit to the preview that we saw for next week, Liv eats a dominatrix's brain. I'm so excited for next week.
Yeah, I think we're all excited about that.
Is it the heels, the riding crop, the way she is approaching literally everyone? Get on your knees, look it up. I was like, look, I'm ready to see it in charge, unapologetically sexually charged Liv. It's gonna be great.
I think that'll be a treat for every fan.
Yes.
I think that'll be good. I am also curious about the goo that Major keeps eating. I don't think we can forget about that.
Goo. We should not forget about that.
We didn't really touch in on that this week. It seems like he's just eating the goo and he's fine with it. But that's just so suspicious. Whenever you're given something by a shady government official, that
just take this. Don't ask questions.
Nothing. Yeah,
absolutely. And as you say, his Don Quixote complex has been kind of into overdrive, and there seems to be this nationality kind of mentality going along in the group of like everything for zombies. We can't trust any of the people.
Right.
We're going to move to an island where no one can. It's a very like pure, untouched kind of idea instead of integrating in society. So it definitely feels dangerous. I definitely still don't trust this company.
Yeah. It sounds like they want to succeed. From America by just being a little zombie island. In the zombie island.
And I feel like this is how we get Evil Dead. So that was
okay. I just want to say correction. Ivan Soto says Major stopped eating the goo, Dave, but I thought he had to be. Maybe he's being forced on the goo.
I think he just he introduced a friend last week to regular brains.
Yeah,
but I don't think he switched completely off from the goo. I think he just was like, oh man, we should try the real thing because this is tasteless.
Yeah, but that does bring up a good point that he could still be on the goo and he might not be on the goo. Which, if he isn't on the goo, when they turn the switch that turns everyone gooey, like it could do something different.
It could help.
Also, his friend might come back in a future episode and maybe be a love interest for Liv.
Because that was amazing.
That was a nice little sparks between them.
Take that ship. Absolutely. Any more predictions?
I think we're gonna have a lot of fun this season, and we're gonna all enjoy next week's episode. Renji90998 says, I'm really into sexy Liv, which is nice. And also she says, after next episode, which sexy Liv are you going to like, dominatrix or stripper with attitude? That's a good question. What will be my Halloween costume this year? Will it be dominatrix Liv or sexy stripper Liv with an attitude?
I vote for dominatrix Liv.
It might just be. We'll find out
because I want
next.
to see you crack the whip on everybody.
As I tend to do every Halloween. Oh boy.
Oh, I love you, Dave. In the meantime, where can the folks find you at, Dave?
Oh, you can find me at mrdavechild or davechild.com. My name is Dave Child.
You got shows here people should be checking out?
Yes, you could also find me at the Fargo show this week. We're actually going to move. We're going to record this week on Friday, but we're still doing it this week. It just has to be moved. And then next week, I'm at Doctor Who and also American Gods. I'll be talking about American Gods as well as this show.
I will be in the chat for American Gods because I am so pumped for that show.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
I've been Joelle Monique. You can find me all over the internet at Joelle Monique and every week at blackgirlnerds.com. On Thursdays, you can catch me 2 o'clock doing Genius, 3 o'clock doing The Handmaid's Tale, 4 o'clock doing The Knife Hour, and then all all the way down at 10 o'clock when we do Riverdale. Powerless for the 5 fans out there has been pulled off of the air.
No!
So there will be no more Powerless. We're done with that. On Wednesdays, catch me on the Schmoes Nose. Head over to blackgirlnerds.com right now. Check out my review of, the hell did I do? Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
That one.
And I have an interview with W. Kamau Bell coming out. You should check out his show,
Nice.
United Shades of America, coming out on CNN very soon. Thank you guys for joining us. This has been iZombie. We love you, chat. Mwah, you guys are beautiful. Thanks for joining us.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
This one's for Jan.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.